It's the Celsius Tropical Vibe Starfruit Pineapple Edition. Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. What's your vibe?
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great, but with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Sports played on a field or ice or courts.
Bet Rivers is the place.
Over, under, money line. Same game parlays, it's all fine.
You'll put a smile on your face.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is your home for chance, where you can bet on the sports you love. Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Download the app.
Take a chance.
Must be 21 plus. Available in Illinois only. Void where prohibited. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tanya here, and there are many ways that we can all help raise awareness around HIV, but maybe the most important is just talking about it openly and honestly. There's no cure for HIV, but there are effective treatments that, taken as prescribed, can help you live healthy with HIV and get to and stay undetectable, which means the amount of the virus is so low it can't be measured by lab tests. If you're living with HIV and not on treatment, talk to your doctor about treatment options. Learn more at treathivtoday.com. This message was sponsored by Gilead Sciences.
Breaking news.
This just in.
Get a more considered view of the news with The Economist, the antidote to the 24-hour breaking news cycle. With an all-access subscription to The Economist, you gain access to in-depth, deeply researched and expert analysis and opinion of world events and topics ranging from business and culture to politics and technology. So when you need a trusted news source, for fact's sake, trust The Economist. Start your free trial at economist.com.
8:16. KFYR 550 and Guns in the 701. Gentlemen, how are you?
Pretty good. Great morning. How about you?
Well, just ready for a weekend. And oh, wait a minute, it's radio. It's we're on the air every day's the same.
Labor of love, right?
That's right. Well, I tell people it's radio ranching, because if you're running a ranch, still got to feed things and clean things and stuff, right? Well,
yeah, very true. Very true.
I mean, we don't bother to clean the radio station. It's radio. Who's going to know? But I'm just kidding.
Where it goes, right?
I'm just kidding. We clean the radio station. I just don't clean my house because I'm never there. But that's a different story. But gee whiz, look at that. We're 2 seconds in and we're already going down the rabbit trail. But that's the story of my life too. So, back in the case of over homemade firearms, what's the thought process going on here?
Yeah, but first I'm going to just say something here.
Okay.
Here in the past week, we have 29 permitless carry states, meaning we got constitutional carry now in 29 states. Over half the country finally has restored our Second Amendment rights. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
Louisiana, I think, was the latest.
The heck's wrong with the other half?
Well, a lot of them are blue states and commies, so that's part of it. But we'll get there.
Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me how you really feel about it.
Yeah,
we can't say that on radio.
Okay, give me the G-rated version of how you really... The network, the TV network-friendly version of how you...
Well, I don't know how to put that in words.
It's bananas. Yeah. That's what it is. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
I don't know what in the fruit they're doing.
Oh. Jamie and I used to do a really good job not slipping up, so, we want to start now.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
So anyway, we got Everytown for, as we always called it, gun confiscation. They're backing this lawsuit that's taken place in Michigan, which Michigan has some crazy laws. In fact, they just convicted 2 parents for their kids murdering that he did with a firearm that evidently they gave to him. But that's a whole other situation. But that's the kind of state Michigan is. They're going after JSD, and they joined the lawsuit. Supply. They basically, because they sell what they call a privately manufactured firearm, and you know how they like to put just the initials up, PMF. It involved an accidental shooting of a guy by the name of Boyd, or his name is actually Guy Boyd, by Kyle Thum, who was at the time 17 years old. Now, he bought this kit offline called Polymer 80 kits. They were quite common, especially before ATF decided that they needed to regulate them and call them firearms. But they did not know that he wasn't 18 because he has said, yep, I'm 18. There's a place on their website said, yep, I can verify I'm 18 years of age. But you know what? That don't matter. Everytown hates guns. They hate the Second Amendment. They hate freedom. And so they're going after this company. They're asking for a lot of damages, too, the way it sounds. And they claim that the company is liable because it didn't take a single step to verify Thum's age on whether he could lawfully own a pistol. In that same case, if you go read the actual complaint within it, they admit that the website required the buyer to certify their age. So, and that's why if you go to any site right now, whether it's NRA or any of these other online companies, they're asking and they say, do you verify you're 18 years of older or even 21? If you don't verify yes, they don't let you into the site. That's what that's all about, everybody, if you've noticed that showing up, even though it's not a law. So basically, Everytown, they're going to sue JSD Supply. They're claiming that they falsely advertised that a privately manufactured firearm made from a kit requires licensing or paperwork, which it does not. ATF didn't call it a gun at the time. You can do it. This isn't new to anybody. You've been able to build a privately manufactured firearm since the beginning of the country, and it's never been required that you have to go through anything to get that. So a lot of their claims are completely false. Corey, you got anything you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, going on that, you know, they're saying it was a gun, and it wasn't. It was actually parts to a gun. So it wasn't a complete firearm that this kid bought. It was parts to it. It was like the grip and part of the lower receiver and stuff. And since this claim came out, JSD actually took them kits off the market. They were pressured enough where they actually took that off their website. But I mean, it's every gun is going, and they're just throwing everything against the wall, hoping something sticks, and they're trying to bankrupt all these manufacturing companies. Is what basically it comes down to.
Yeah, they're trying to pull the same stuff that they did to tobacco companies. A lot of these. On the flip side of that, it's a lot of the same lawyers that represent these actual organizations. They can't win legally. They can't win in court, especially with the Bruin case. So they're going to try to bankrupt the company, make it almost impossible to do business. You know, it's a de facto gun confiscation, or even basically take your gun rights away, where you won't be able to buy them even. And let's remember, when you buy an 80%er, that has to be milled out and has to be completed, the other 20%. That isn't done actually easily. You're going to have some tools that make that possible. You're going to have the knowledge, and yes, you can get on YouTube, although YouTube removed most of them. You can still go over to Rumble, find those videos. I've watched a lot of them myself. But it's not as easy as you think. You're not just going to go order an 80%er or buy an 80%er complete and make a gun. You have to get other kits. You might have to buy barrels, springs, screws. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that go into this, and that's why this case is completely bull, because it has no merit. And let's not forget, the United States Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals sided with companies like JSD Supply recently, and the Supreme Court stayed that court decision until it can decide to actually hear the case before themselves. So we'll see how that goes. But even if the Supreme Court decides that the feds are correct, which I doubt they will, with the Bruin case on record now, the kits, they're basically legal to sell, and they were not considered firearms, and that's what this comes down to. They're just trying to put these guys out of business. They cite all kinds of misleading statements, including that gun violence, which guns can't commit violence, is a leading cause of death for children. They cherry pick that, and it's just insane.
Well, if you throw the gun facing up to 5 years in prison if convicted of criminal vehicular injury. Stephen Kessel had been charged with in connection to the hitting of a state trooper patrol vehicle on Sunday. Trooper's car was hit as he was pulling out of a median onto 83 with emergency lights on to conduct a traffic stop. Officials say the trooper has since experienced a lot of pain from his crash injuries. Kessel's bond set at $50,000. Darian Jackson found guilty of murdering Timothy Smith in Minot last year. Smith found shot to death at the Vegas motel in January. Investigators say an argument between him and Jackson led to the shooting. Jackson claimed he shot Smith in self-defense, though prosecutors say there's no evidence of that being the case. Jackson will be sentenced in August. A man arrested in Griggs County. Multiple charges, including sexual assault, terrorizing, corruption of a minor, and luring minors by electronic means. McGregor Overgon was arrested yesterday. He's in custody at the Stutzman County Correctional Center awaiting a bond hearing. Griggs County Sheriff's Department and North Dakota BCI investigating. Coffee with a Cop today, 9 o'clock till noon at Caribou on South 3rd. Bismarck Police invite you to join them. You can ask officers questions, talk about issues. They're looking to build positive relationships. It's a national program supported by the Federal Justice Department. And elk, moose, and big orange sheep applications are available online, gf.nd.gov. Deadline to apply March 27th. 833 elk licenses are available to hunters this fall. That's up 230 from last year. 242 moose licenses, that's down 15. A big orange sheep hunting season tentatively scheduled for 2024, depending on the sheep population. That'll be determined September 1st after summer population surveys are completed. Elk, moose, and big orange sheep lottery licenses are once in a lifetime in North Dakota. Hunters who have received a license through the lottery in the past are not eligible to apply for that species again. Mild day today, colder for the weekend, but then it warms back up Monday. Your KFYR AccuWeather forecast is on the way.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Cage the Elephant, Neon Pill Tour. Special guests Young the Giant and Bakar. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly. Now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. After that, I told my wife we couldn't put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. It'll be mild today, some sun, a windy day. Those winds will pick up as we go. High today, 58. Clouds and breezy tonight, low 29. And then cloudy, breezy day tomorrow, the high 43. Breezy again tomorrow evening, partly cloudy, low dropping to 20. And then clouds will give way to some sun on Sunday, a breezy afternoon, high 35. Monday, milder, intervals of clouds and sun, high on Monday at 55. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Steve Williams.
Bismarck at the moment, partly cloudy, 26 southwest wind at 6. Guns in the 701. Back next.
Jim was at the laundromat when he heard. His ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." You could call them scent maracas, but most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
In this week's Marketers Report, we hear about the importance of local radio from Allison Griffin, Head of Marketing at State Farm.
iHeart has such a broad broadcast reach that is local, and for us to be able to touch customers with a local feel but at a national scale is so efficient and important for us.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Sick of being bullied by your bank with surprise fees, getting stuck on hold, and bankers who don't get you? Wintrust takes a different approach. Whether you need banking solutions, a new home, or help planning your financial future, Wintrust has local experts ready to lend a hand. Stop banking the same way and expecting different results, and start banking where you matter at wintrust.com/bully-free. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
SchwannBuickGMC.com, your exclusive South Central and Western North Dakota Buick dealer.
Need to connect with a business? Shop local and support your community.
At Flash Printing, they turn your ideas into reality, quick as a flash. With over 45 years of serving the Bismarck and Mandan area with printing, copying, and graphic design, they are happy to help with any of your printing needs. Call or stop by at 258-ASAP or 904 East Front Avenue, Bismarck. Flash Printing. Copies, quick as a flash.
Check out these and other businesses on this iHeart Station's website. Keyword Business Connection.
842 at KFYR, it's Guns in the 701. Clay and Corey in this week. And your North Dakota state legislators before too long will be hard at work. God, can I say that with a straight face? It's tough. It's tough, but I think I made it. So start now if you want to see something change.
That's kind of what I was thinking when I thought I'd bring this stuff up. And it has to do with our concealed carry laws. And, of course, we have constitutional carry. But a lot of bills start even in November or December when you start preparing for those and then finding your sponsors so that they are ready by the January date when they come into session. So the big thing I want to kind of point out is that we do have constitutional carry, and I'm not going to get real technical here because it's boring. If you read the North Dakota Century Code, better have some coffee or some caffeine. It'll put you to sleep. But you got 62.1-4 is pretty much where most of your concealed carry firearm laws are all taking place, actually anything under, quote, dangerous weapons. And we did pass that here. Last session, we had constitutional carry, thanks to Governor Burgum. He signed it. And essentially it gave everybody in the state of North Dakota that's a resident the right. It restored their right to carry without a permit. Now, unlike the one in South Dakota, which I like the South Dakota version better, and I was instrumental in helping write that at the time, but unfortunately I retired before we saw it passed. But we did get it passed, and then eventually Christy Noem signed it. Anybody, it emulates Wyoming's, which is a better version, where anybody who can carry a firearm in the state of South Dakota, resident or non-resident, may carry without a permit. So that's kind of what I'm going at. If you want to see them changes take place, we just need to strike one little thing in the actual concealed carry firearms of dangerous weapons part of this, under where the licensing and that kind of stuff takes place, and get on your legislature and your legislators and push for this and say, hey, let's restore that right to anybody. We do have reciprocity right now in the state of North Dakota, but not a non-resident may not carry in the state of North Dakota without a permit. And that's just wrong. I think you ought to be able, if you can carry in your state, you should be able to carry here as well. A lot of states have it. They've had no problems, and it's not the Wild West like everybody thinks. I mean, South Dakota has the rally, and we have people from all over the country that go down there. So I don't see why we couldn't have the same thing here. Corey, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, you pretty much summed it up. But yeah, like South Dakota, we know non-residents and residents can open carry. So I mean, it's just it's one of our rights as being lawful gun owners. Myself, we do have open carry, and you don't have to have a permit, say, or whatever. But I myself like to have that
as well.
Right. Yep. I like to have that hard copy of a card just in case something would happen. I can physically show it, but that's just me. I like proof of that I'm lawful, you know.
Right. Yeah, and the nice thing about having a permit, like I said, I don't think it should be required, but then you got to go to the other states, the ones that are not, the other 31 states that don't allow you to constitutionally carry now in the United States. And there is reciprocity with several of those. So the nice thing about having your concealed carry permit, whether in North and South Dakota or even Wyoming offers one, and that's mostly so you can go to them other states where they do require that you have a reciprocity and a concealed carry permit. And, that kind of leads to another thing with North Dakota. And this kind of came up with a discussion about the North Dakota state GOP convention coming up. They were going to do some searches. They weren't going to allow you to carry. I mean, we're the party of freedom, right? Well, we have a public gathering law that's within this specific century code that does not allow you to actually carry a firearm at a public gathering. And it's insane to me. And, of course, they do have the schools put in there, school-sponsored events and churches, other places of worship, publicly owned, operated buildings. They do have exemptions, and the school thing was overturned, and we have now the right school districts can actually go ahead. It's kind of a process, go to the DPI, get permission to do it. Unfortunately, they have to seek permission from there and then implement it. But the problem is you go like what's happening in, say, Fargo or Bismarck, either of them, if you hold something at a, quote, public building and it's a public gathering, you can't carry. And I think that we need to change that part of our century code so that you do not have to subject yourself to that and lose your rights just because you go to a public gathering. You're already a lawfully legal owner of a firearm. And that should have no bearing then, or that should have all the bearing then to say I can go to a public gathering and rightfully have my rights to protect myself. It should be up to the person or organization putting that on, not an over-blanketing state law as we're seeing right now. So I got issues with that. I don't know, Todd or Corey want to chime in on that at all?
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys stay out of your guys' way. You guys have a handle on all this stuff. Guns in the 701, Corey and Clay, and thank God for President Biden.
Oh my goodness.
First meaningful gun legislation in 36 years. What, is he making the entire state open carry? That would be meaningful, right?
Yeah. I know you know this one, Corey. Go for it.
Well, so I was goofing around on Google, and I know how everybody loves Google because, everything is truthful and all that stuff on that. But I just typed in, what has Biden done good for our country? And it came up to a website that is a government website. And it is funny what they list as top accomplishments for our president. I mean, and some of it, I don't get into a lot of politics or whatever, but I follow it just enough to know our country is going down the wrong path, and it is crazy what comes up for his accomplishments.
By the way, in case you missed the press conference, I got a little part of it here.
I will go door to door if I have to, but I'm going to convince Americans that I'm right, and I'm going to get the guns.
So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a movie. In case anybody's thinking, what? When did that happen?
That's a movie clip, but Biden has kind of said that, and we've seen Feinstein before she passed and was still in the Senate saying, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them in, and she really said it. So don't think for a minute that these Democrat politicians don't want them all.
Right. And I'll put up that website that it actually gave me a list of what he's supposedly done for our country or whatever, and it's www.whitehouse.gov, and then it lists all his so-called accomplishments that he's been there.
Is that the shortest website out there on the internet, or?
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of stuff on it, and you'd be surprised.
Todd, they probably had to dumb it down so Biden could find it himself.
It'll actually reduce speech or text to speech and read it for you, so you don't have to try to read it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he'd be able to search this website and actually find anything, because it's kind of interesting.
Do you remember the name of the act that they're touting as such a great thing, Corey?
I think it's the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is what. Yeah,
and one of the things in there, I think. What did you see in there? There's one thing that jumped out to me, but did you see a big thing in there that actually kind of affects our young adults.
Well, yeah, it's in that act or whatever. It's young people's 18 to 21 undergo enhanced background checks. You know, I mean, we can sign up for the military and get trained on multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment, and then as soon as you get out of the military and you're not 21, you can't go buy a simple rifle or pistol. I mean, it's just...
Well, then just bring one home then when you...
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, before anybody thinks I'm trying to get people to break those kind of laws, I'm not. That's called satire. Check the definition.
Yeah, I don't know if young people and if millennials actually know what sarcasm is anymore.
Good point. Good point.
You know, the biggest part about the Bipartisan Unsafe Community Act that bothered me the most is they created the Office of Gun Violence, and that's problematic. They even hired an overseer for it within the White House, and then they got a big pool of money within this act, and unfortunately, a lot of Republicans voted for it and passed it, and it's going to allow states, cities, whatever. So we got to watch our own states, our own counties. They're going to, hey, if you take this money, essentially what it's going to do, they're changing the name of it. It's called an Extreme Risk Protection Order. It's a red flag law, guys. What's going to happen is somebody calls in and says, hey, I think Corey's a threat to himself or he's a threat to others. And if they took that money and implemented it, luckily in North and South Dakota, they can't at the moment. But if they did it, guess what? Then they're going to come take your guns, and you have to prove that you're not a risk and that you're not guilty, and that's violation of due process right off the bat. So be careful. There's a lot of things in that particular act that fund a lot of bad things when it comes to the Second Amendment. So they're out there on their website saying it's the first meaningful gun violence reduction legislation in 30 days. No, it's just another step to confiscation. 30 years, sorry. It's just another step to confiscation.
Office of Gun Violence in Washington, D.C. It's not self-explanatory what they're teaching there.
Yeah, no kidding. But
just saying.
You can reach us, guys, and you can see us every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central. We're on gunsinthe701.com, all of our social media platforms. And by the way, Jamie has something coming up tonight as well. Drinks with the 701. You're gonna want to be there and then check that out. Picking North Dakota brews, testing them out with a group of guys, and gonna kind of talk about them. So you don't want to miss that. That'll be on all of our platforms. It'll be everywhere at 7 o'clock Central Time. Drinks with the 701, and JD and a bunch of great guys are gonna do that for you tonight. And of course, you can't miss us on Mitchell in the Morning every Friday. 7:15 Mountain, 8:15 Central, and the best podcast on iHeart you're going to find.
There you go. That's the important part. We got to nail that part right there. Guns in the 701. Right? Well, Corey, good to talk to you. Clay?
Yeah.
I always talk to you, so it's no big deal. But
right. One of these days I'll come up and actually meet you, but I'd like to add on, the wind is starting to pick up, and most of central South Dakota is in red flag warnings also. It is extremely dry out there, and be safe.
Okay. Yeah. Red flag warning 1 to 8 Central, so careful, everybody. All right, guys, have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, you take care, 8:55.
Happy birthday.